So there's going to be a couple of things on your slate that are going to be permanent, that aren't going to change from one take to the next. That's going to be the production line, director, camera, date, and some of the specifics here on this side. So in order for you to not have to use a dry eraser every time if it gets erased or smudged or etc., use white gaff tape. So if you wouldn't mind, Alyssa is going to put some white gaff tape on the production and all the other things I talked about. That way you could actually use a permanent marker, write it on the slate, and not have it change. I want to make a clear delineation between the job duties of the first AC and the second AC. Here's why. It's better to divide and conquer. So as a team of two, the first AC and the second AC, you're able to split your duties. So as the first AC, you're going to be responsible for building the camera. As a second AC, you're going to be responsible of the equipment management and the slates. So just like Alyssa did, put the tape on the slate. Another pro tip that I want you guys to do with white gaff tape is you have these little markers that lets you know what media you're using. So as soon as you load media here, you open the media door, there's a slot there for CFast cards. And those CFast cards are found in this ARRI media kit. In this ARRI media kit, you're going to find a card reader. This card reader has various cables. It has USB-C for more modern Macs, and it has a USB-C to USB-A, the more traditional USB. So it depends on what port your computer has. And then you want to cycle through this media as you shoot it. You'll notice though that there's only one SD card in here. So the question might be, well, Roberto, how can I cycle through the media if there's only one card in there? Well, there's a hidden compartment. So you just pull that little sleeve there, and you're going to find multiple SD cards. Each of these SD cards, one of these guys is worth around $300. Everything's super expensive. Everything you guys are using is super high-end. This is the most high-end stuff you're going to use for film production. That lives in there. Okay, so tying it back to the second AC. The second AC is going to be in charge of placing the media in the camera. So that is going to go with the label, the name of the card where it says CFast. It's going to be facing you. And then you're going to pop it in there into card slot A. So now you're in. Now that you're in, this is your A camera. That's why it has A on there. That's going to match the file that you're going to create inside the camera. And it's A001 because guess what? It's going to be roll 1. So using your dry erase, we're going to draw a 1 on there, right? And that's representing your camera A001. Once you switch the media to a different card, that is now roll 2. So you're going to pull this tape and you're going to use your roll 2 tape, which is here. This is just white gaff tape that you could then affix to the back of your slate. And who's in charge of the slate? Second AC. That's right. So that's why the second AC is going to be doing this stuff. So as you cycle through the different cards, you're going to put this here on the media card port, just like that. So you know that the card in there is card A001, which is going to match the file naming structure A001. When you pull out that card, second AC, and hand it off to the DIT, the data imaging technician, you are going to pop the media out, place it in the card. So there you go. So now we know it's A001. Another thing you want to do with this in terms of data management, this tape is not red, but close enough. It's red tape. We're going to put some red tape on it. So now if anyone comes across this card, they're going to know which reel it is, A001, and they know the footage has not been downloaded. Has not, why? Because it's red. Red for stop. So do not reformat this card because we have not downloaded it. Through the magic of Justin's editing, we now downloaded the footage. We took off the white gaff tape. And now there's no reel number associated with it. It's got a green piece of tape. What do you guys think? Red for stop, green for
Go.
or go. So now the DIT, the data imaging technician, knows this card is good to reformat. That means that this footage has been downloaded to 2 separate hard drives at least. Use the military motto, 2 is 1 and 1 is none, right? So at least back it up in 2 spots and you're good to go, yeah? We want to cycle through this reel, I'd say maybe every 2 to 3 setups. Here's why. You guys notice that these files are like 10 gigabytes per clip. And you're gonna do multiple takes per setup. So I'd say try to switch out every 3 setups so you are actively downloading the footage and not having to spend 8 hours after your production downloading this footage here in the studios. Yeah? Okay, good. So that's a little bit of file management. Another thing that the second AC will be responsible for, once they put the matte box on the camera body itself, is labeling any filters they have. So I'm gonna add this. Actually, I'll have Justin, if you wouldn't mind, Justin, add this matte box to that. Thank you. Depending on the filters you use, you want to go in and label it. So here I have an ND.6. Here I have a BPM, Black Pro Mist half, and Black Pro Mist quarter. So what you do, let's say I have a Black Pro Mist half in the matte box, then I get my Black Pro Mist half. So this little tape, you could go ahead and place that on the matte box here on the top left or wherever you have room. So that's going to tell you that you have a Black Pro Mist half in here. Roberto, why does it matter? This is why it matters. So if you have a Black Pro Mist half and you want to zoom in because you want to get that close up and it's at a 105, guess what? That Black Pro Mist half is going to create too much softness for that close up. It's going to make it look like a glamour shot. And you might not know unless that tape is on there. And you could have multiple filters. You could have a soft focus filter and a Black Pro Mist filter and something else. Or an ND. Let's say you have an ND and then you turn on all the lights here. It's like, why does it look so dark? Well, it's because you have a ND 0.6 on there is why it's so dark, right? So the second AC is in charge of all that good stuff. Anything you place in either of these filter holders is where you use these. If you do not have an ND filter in there, don't do it. It's gonna tell you that in the camera anyway. Cool? Great question though. This is known as an insert slate. This is for when you're doing a super tight close-up of something. Like let's say you're doing a super tight close-up of this remote focus unit. Then you can just pop this little guy in there, slate it, pull it out. And obviously you don't have to do sync sound. That's why it doesn't have a clapper, because it's just an insert. Cool? After the balance, so we set that at a 7. This camera was pretty well balanced with the prime lens, right? Let's see if it's balanced with the zoom lens. So, not so much. So with the zoom lens on there, I have to go back to like an 11. See now how the camera's not moving back to its original position so much? That's good. This is what you want. This is an ideal setup where you're operating and you're able to essentially get your hands off the camera and it stays there. What is that going to do? That's going to make for better operating. That means that I could get that helicopter landing on the tarmac and then Tom Cruise running across, jumping into the F1 car, taking off again in the helicopter, and everything's so smooth because look at this. Camera's basically operating itself. I could operate it with one finger and have super smooth shots. So that's the trick, balancing your camera, all right?